Hello, my lovelies, and welcome to my first real video. How about that? No surprise, I'm really recording the intro and then going into my first video. And I want to do like I've been doing, which is going through what a narcissist is, right? And this is specific to caregivers, primary caregivers, parental narcissist. Not that these traits don't apply to others, but it's specific to the parental figures, right? Mom, dad, whoever raised you. But for most of you, it's mom. From what I can see, for me, it's mom as well. I want to start with you are all here for a reason, right? You are not here by coincidence. You either typed in narcissistic mother or typed in something in Google and you figured out that your mother's a narcissist because you saw these traits and you went, pow! Oh my God, that's my mother, okay? Or my father, word for word. And that's how it happened for me too. Exactly. My interactions with my mother were very bad. I'd have a conversation with her and I would leave the conversation just feeling exhausted and sad, anxious. Usually I'm calling her because of my anxiety, and I would leave feeling more anxious than I was before. But let's go through the narcissistic traits one more time. Why not, right? It's not going to hurt you. But remember, this is not about giving them the name narcissistic parent. It's about just, hey, they're assholes. But here are definite traits that you should have seen. And I just talked about one of them. If you're having interactions with a person who makes you feel awful at the end of it, they're an asshole, right? If you have a friend that talks to you and lies to you constantly and outdoes what you're doing and they're never happy for you, they're an asshole and they don't belong in your life. Get them out of there. Block them. No more Facebook and just disappear as far as they're concerned, right? They don't need to know what you're doing. All right, so what are the traits of a narcissist? The most important one, I think, is that they have an inflated sense of self. They portray themselves as this extremely important person who is perfect, right? Everything they've ever done in their life has been perfect. Everything they're doing is perfect, and they know everything. If you get sick, they know what's wrong with you and how to cure it, even if they don't. And that can cause issues later on in your life, and it did for me, because I was always told what you have is nothing. And now I have a thyroid issue, which I may have had for a long time, but never went to the doctor because mommy said it was okay and there was nothing wrong with me. Okay? So that's the one thing. Along with that goes the fact that they, because of this inflated sense of ego, they want to associate with other people that in their minds are on the same level as they are. So if you're unfortunate enough to have a parent who actually has a high-powered position at work or happens to rub elbows with famous people, oh my God, boy, are you hearing about it. I'm sure, right? All you hear is how great their job is and those poor people under them. If they treat you this way, can you imagine how they are? Yeah. Maybe some of you are listening to this because you have a boss who's a narcissist. Me too. Okay. So the next thing is they lack empathy. So you are talking to a normal person, who's normal, right? I'm definitely not normal. I'm crazy. I'm on YouTube. And I have a mom who will probably, do something if she sees this. Luckily, I know I'm telling the truth, so it doesn't matter. They lack empathy. So you're having a normal conversation with someone and they're feeling for you, right? I'm so sorry. Is there anything I can do for you? That's empathy. When you talk to a narcissist, they don't hear you. That's basically the lack of empathy, is the fact that they don't really care. They're not listening to you. They want to say what they want to say. So that's what they're doing. They're thinking, and they're focused, they're centering, their own life, and they're thinking about, what can I say that tops what they're saying to me. Okay. I know that a lot of you probably have experienced this with a narcissistic parent. With my mom, Jesus Christ, Ma, you worked in the 60s at Citibank in Manhattan. Big freaking deal. She worked, and she worked in the check machine, I guess, where they counted the checks that had come in. And every time I talk about work, which I have an anxiety about, she mentions that job. Oh my God, I know all the stories. Most of the people that I grew up with actually came from that job. Their kids, my mother's friends' kids, and that's a whole other thing. But yes, that's a big thing, is lacking empathy. They need admiration. They need to be told how great they are, and they will do things to get that attention. I know that a lot of you have moms that like to decorate houses and cook, and they're the first ones that go out and help the neighbor that's in need, because they need that admiration from everyone, the outside world. So that's what they do, and that's called narcissistic supply. And I always talk about having a big old narcissistic supply dinner, and that we are not the ones that are going to supply them with it anymore. We're not cooking their narcissistic dinner, okay? Forget that shit. We're done. We're not doing it anymore, all right? We're not. I'm not. You're not. We're not. And I'll get into how not to do that later. It's not easy, but we won't do it. All right. So they have this really fragile ego, because really behind that abuse and that need for attention and putting you down makes them feel better is a very fragile person, a very fragile ego. Okay. And that's the one thing. And I'm not saying that to make an excuse for them, because they are aware of what they're doing. They may not know that they're narcissists per se, but they know what they're doing. They're calculated. They manipulate situations, but behind it all is this really fragile ego. Usually because they were abused as well. My mother was abused by her mother. I don't know much, but she told me one story that just tipped me off immediately, that she had been abused. With men, it's very easy, right? A man can, use their fists, and that's very sad to me, that is how a man chooses to show his anger and frustration, right? Because it's their insecurity. That's behind narcissism, is insecurity. So that's why they need this supply, and they need to have it. And if they don't have it, they're going to look for it wherever they can find it. And if they can't find it, watch out. Okay, right now, I am in a state of, I'm more relaxed today than I have been, but something's going on where mommy's not getting supply. Daddy is the perfect enabler for her. So, for some reason, they've been trying to contact me persistently after over 2 years of not hearing from them. Okay, so let's not talk about that. It doesn't matter. right? I said it didn't matter what the circumstances are. It's getting yourself in a safe place, and that's where I want to stay, is in a safe place. Um and this helps me to be in a safe place. Talking to you guys and hopefully getting through to you guys, and not in such a clinical way. I've seen a lot of videos, and I'm a big fan of some of these YouTubers that talk about this. Um, Shout out to Lisa A. Romano. She's fantastic. She's and in her she talks about narcissistic traits in general and stuff like that. She's fantastic. I love her. So if you guys, you ever want to, go ahead and look for her, because she's fantastic. But I'm gonna take a different approach than her. She's very good at explaining things. I'm just gonna kind of talk to you as if I was talking to my best friend, and I was explaining this to them, because they're going through it. That's the relationship I want with you guys. It's like, you when you're looking at me, you're not looking at a TV screen or your computer, okay? And I hope I can achieve that. Okay, another big, huge, giant red flag is that they do not apologize. Okay, try to get a narcissist to apologize. They will do everything they can. They will change the subject. They will say that you're wrong. That's another thing that they do, is have selective memory. Don't ever try to get them to apologize, because number one, if they do give in, you're gonna hear it and go, ew, that doesn't sound right, because it's not. It's genuine. You're forcing it, and it's not genuine. They don't think they're wrong. They never admit wrongdoing. And that's what causes them to have selective memory. If you remember something from your past, from your childhood, having abuse, and you ask them about it, oh, you're crazy. That never happened. That must have been a dream. I've heard everything in the book. And I know that it happened, and you should know it probably happened, And I'll go into another video talking about the guilt that comes, because really this does affect us for the rest of our lives. I wouldn't be here if it hadn't affected me. I'm 45 years old, and I'm not working a 9-to-5 job, and I don't know if I ever can again, because of this anxiety that has been created through years and years of really not knowing, I guess, what her mood was going to be, and always being on edge. And you can probably relate to that. So these are the major narcissistic traits, like really big egos. There's things that come along with all of that in order to make themselves look good. If you happen to ever question them, unmask their, because they're wearing a mask all the time. They're never their selves. They don't have a self, right? So if they're ever unmasked by you, you're going to get it. And it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be painful. But you can survive it. And I'll teach you those things. I will show you how to survive that. But they will talk to the entire family about you. And I know that I'm not alone in this either, is a big family secret that everybody knows but you. And the day that you find out about it is the day that everything unravels. And that's what happened to me. And I'll tell that story again in another video. But yes, how I found out my mother was narcissistic was because a big secret came out that everyone in my family knew. That those friends of my mom that worked with her at Citibank in the 1960s, that was so fantastic, such a great job, and she was such a great, perfect person. They all knew about it. And I found out that my mother was not who she said she was, not even close. Now, as I became an older person, an adult, I started to realize no one's perfect. She's just human. But this really, showed me that boy, is she not human. She's leaps and bounds worse than I am. I am so much more of a better person than she is, you know? And that's a nice realization, and those are the things that keep you going. Because when you find out your mother's a narcissist and things start to make sense from your past, right? I was punished for this particular thing, and maybe I shouldn't have been punished because I was a kid and I was doing something normal, because that happened many times to me. And you start to realize all of the horrible things that this person did just to get narcissistic supply. And then even realizing that your father helped her to do this. It becomes that anger. You get very angry. And that anger is going to fuel you in the right direction. You listen to that anger. Okay, I would never say that except in this situation. Right? You listen to that anger, because that anger is going to fuel you to get away from the abuse, from the narcissist. Okay? And this works in a family dynamic. Okay? It's not just the one person. There's always going to be more than one person who is narcissistic in this dysfunction. So I said my grandmother, my mother, my aunt, one of my aunts. I have two. The one who's not lives in a different country. So I didn't get to really bond with her, even though I knew, like, deep down inside that me and her were more of kindred spirits. Because she was the scapegoat in this situation. I know she was. And I have an uncle, but I don't know, because guess what? Another narcissistic trait. They easily cut off people who hurt their egos. And my mother did that with her brother. So I didn't see my uncle since I was 8. There you go. You probably have a story that's similar to that with a friend. Anybody who hurts their ego becomes, disposable. Bye-bye. See ya. They don't have any, because they don't have attachments. They don't feel love. Okay, what looks like love to them is more of an imitation or a need, right? And they go after those people who will be their enablers, right? My father couldn't be more of an enabler. My dad is a shell of a person. He's a ghost. If you're around him, you're like, oh, damn, he came in the room? Because I used to visit, and he would run directly into the garage or outside, because he was the perfect enabler, right? So it's a family dynamic. So I already mentioned grandma, mom, aunt's son. So he's my first cousin, 20 years older than I am. Complete narcissistic son of a bitch. Okay? And I'm saying it like that because I was so confused. The last few times that he visited, he lives about 2.5 hours from where I live and my parents live. And I had a conversation with him. The last few times I would leave and I would say to my husband, why am I so angry? What's going on? Why am I angry at him? And it was because I hadn't yet realized what a narcissist was. And he was narcissist first class. He is the worst. He treated his son, my second cousin, who is more my age, very cruelly. And my cousin has had a lot of implications with that as well. Me and him both had similar anxiety problems and depression issues. And, my poor cousin had bad therapists. I had bad therapists. It's something you have to watch out for. Therapists that don't understand that the best solution for solving narcissist issues is to get away from them. That's another trait. They will never change. And that's a hard one to accept, because we want that hope that they're going to change. When I went no contact, I had hope for a very, very long time that my mom or my dad would contact me and ask for forgiveness and tell me the whole story of the problems, the issues that I found out about, the family secret, and that did not happen. And I'm still in the dark for a lot of things, but I'm in a place where the dark is okay. I'm no longer afraid of the dark. Okay, it's okay to be here. I don't need to know if my mom married someone before or had sex 100 times before my dad, because that was one of her things, was being a virgin and being Catholic. And she was the Virgin Mary. I used to make fun of that and not realizing that that's actually a narcissistic thing. you know um so it's a family dysfunction. And if you happen to be the person who the universe, a higher power, whatever you believe in, your deity, um, has picked to be the one that stops the abuse in its tracks, then you have a lot on your shoulders. I know, because that's me. I have stopped this line of narcissistic abuse, right? My daughter, I have tried to correct. I'm not perfect, right? Made a lot of mistakes with her. She's 17, so she's at an age that no matter how much you try, you have to count to 5 and then walk away sometimes, because they think they know it all. They have no clue about real life. But I remember thinking that I knew it all at 17. So I love my daughter with all of my heart, and I would do anything to save her, to protect her. And that's what a mother's supposed to do. And that's another thing that a narcissistic parent will not do, is protect their child. They will, if anything, if you unmask their narcissism, they will talk about you and lie and tell family members that you beat them. Someone said that on Instagram. Mine, when I read this, I said, yeah, mine is that I was violent. So she made it all encompassing. I used to go over there and beat the crap out of my mother, who's only 5'2", and I'm 5'6", and I'm twice her weight. I don't look anything like my mom, so I'm grateful for that. Thank you, God. I don't look in the mirror and see her. I do see her, but some people actually see their mothers or whoever their narcissist is, because they look exactly like them. I don't. I just see I don't know, like a little film, a watermark of her in there, and it bothers me. But I've come to accept that it's there. So I think I'm gonna end there. As far as that, those are the main narcissistic traits. Please, oh God, I'm gonna say the things that I've seen on YouTube. Please press the subscribe button, so you can get more videos, so you can see more, about what to do after you've realized that your person's a narcissist. There's a lot to come. I have a lot to say. I have over 2 years of stories and research that I can just give to you, which that is my goal here, is to help you heal. So just subscribe, like my video. I can't believe I'm saying it, because I watch YouTube. I like the makeup videos myself. I'm a big makeup fan, and so I tried. I'm trying to look dewy and shiny, and because I'm getting a little older, so I have to adjust the makeup. For those of you that are big makeup fans, so I do look at a lot of YouTube stuff. So I can't believe I'm saying those things. So subscribe and like and comment below, and I will try and answer any of your questions. Okay. So I'm sending you all of my love and all of my calmness. All right, maybe calmness isn't the right word, but I'm sending you my love and my healing and everything I've learned through osmosis. And I will see you next time.